Hi folks, Tyler Capozzi here with a tutorial on how to sync music for a music video shoot. So let's assume that you're shooting a music video, you're going to play the music live at the actual production when you're shooting, and then later on you want to be able to sync that music up perfectly with your edit. So here's what you'll need to do. Fire up some footage that you have shot on the camera that you're going to be shooting on if you have it available. Drag it into Premiere Pro. Now, if you don't have any available, that'll still work, but I'll show you how to do it if you have any available. Drag that footage down into the sequence, and what that will do is create a sequence with the settings of your camera. So just to double check, we'll maximize the project window, and our frame rate is good, and video info is good, so that's the resolution that I want. That's what I'm going to be shooting at. Yours may vary. I can then delete the clip and rename the sequence. So if you don't have any footage, just create a new sequence, and if you know what your settings are going to be, set them now, or if you don't until you get the footage, set them later. Okay, so now we'll drag in the music that we're going to be using. I'll just drag the whole folder in. Okay, and what we can do is now drag the music down into the timeline. So I'll put that on track 1, but move it over just a few seconds to the right. So that way there's a small blank gap there. Okay, now we'll click on File, New, Bars and Tone. And then click on OK. That will add some bars and tone to the project panel. What we'll do is drag that down into our timeline, making sure that it doesn't intersect with the music. So I'm going to drop it down onto the track number 2, Let Go. Okay, and we don't need the bars, we don't need the video at all, so we'll delete that by holding down Option, clicking on the video, and then pressing Delete. Great. So we can zoom in now. And if you scroll up on these tracks, it will show you the audio waveform. So you can see the audio waveforms of the audio now. Okay. So all we need to do is create one frame of tone a couple times. So to do that, we'll just move the playhead over one frame and then blade it, and then we can delete the rest. So we've got one frame of tone right here, and this is what it sounds like. Just a really short little blip. And we're going to want to make about 2 or 3 copies of this. So I'll just click on it, copy it, and I'm going to space it out by about 5 frames. So I'll just hold down Shift, press the right arrow, Command V. Okay, and then one more time. Okay, so we now have 3 blips of tone. And let's zoom out a little bit. There's our song. We can now drag the song over so it's right at the ending of those blips. Zoom in a little more. Another way that you can do that is just click the blank space there and then press delete. Okay, so we have 3 blips separated by 5 frames each, and then the song immediately starts after that. So this is what it sounds like. Okay, perfect. So we now have this exactly how we want it, because then when we play this track live during production, you'll hear those 3 beeps on camera, and then we can use those to sync up the video later. So what I also like to do is add this at the very end of the video, or at the very end of the audio as well. So let's say you don't need to play the entire song, you just want the end. You can copy these 3 if they would choose to select. There we go. Okay, let's do that again. That's what we want. We'll highlight them all, press copy, zoom all the way out, go all the way to the end of the timeline, or just hit the end key, and then we'll paste them in. So let's zoom in, see how that sounds. Okay, just what we want. And if you have a nice little blank spot somewhere in there, it wouldn't hurt to add some more in, just in case you don't want to play the whole entire song. Because in order to sync it, you got to be able to hear those blips. So judging by the audio waveforms in this song, I could add probably one right here where the playhead is, one at the end right there, maybe one in this gap here, one right there, maybe one right there. So I will go ahead and do that now. Okay, so there we go. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then of course the beginning end ones. So that will give us a ton of flexibility during the actual shoot to be able to start at any point in the song if we want, and we'll have a sync beep probably no more than 30 seconds away. So that way you don't need to play through the entire song to ensure that you have the sync. So now that we have all of our tone blips in place, we will export this track. All we need to do is click on File, Export, Media, and then we will change our format to MP3, and our preset we can leave on 128. That's fine, and we will call it whatever we want to name it. And save it in the appropriate place. Getting quite a bit of lag for some reason. My apologies. Okay, and then just click on Export. Estimated file size 3 megabytes. And pretty quick export. Okay, so let's check it out. There it is, Dance Vid Music Edit Sync. So let's see if it works. Very nice. The other nice thing about having those beeps at the beginning is the actor or dancer or whoever is going to be on camera knows when the song is going to start. So they have the 3 little beeps, and then they know that the song is going to start. So that will help them out a little bit as well. I would check with your actors or whoever's on camera just to make sure that those little blips aren't going to mess them up or bug them. In the past, anyone that I've shot with, they said that it did not bother them, but it is nice to ask your talent before you do it. So there we go, and we are now ready to go shoot. Make sure you bring this clip with you. I'm probably going to throw it on a cell phone and possibly a laptop as a backup, and then also store it somewhere online, like email it to myself. So that way there's a couple redundant copies, maybe email it to somebody else who's going to be on the shoot. So that way we're guaranteed to have it with us. So let's go shoot. Alright, so now we're back from the shoot, and let's go ahead and pop open our footage bin. This was shot on the Panasonic GH3, and we'll jump right into our first clip. That's for the beginning of the song right here. So we will start playing until we hear the beeps. We can scrub forward in time.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, there were the beeps. We'll scrub to the first beep. Bam. So right now my playhead is on the first beep. I'm going to go ahead and set an in point by pressing the I key on the keyboard right there. Great. Now we'll zoom all the way into the timeline, and right there is our first beep. So all I will do now is drag it right into the timeline. I'm going to leave the original audio with it just as a reference track. Okay, so as you can see, there's our first beep, our second beep, and third beep. The audio waveforms are now all lined up. So what we'll do now, just to double check it, is I will mute the NAT sound, which is already muted, and we'll go ahead and play it and see how it looks.
All's my life I has to fight. All's my life I...
We are getting some pretty serious lag, but as you can see, it's synced up. So that's looking good. That is just the first part of the song. We've got about 5 of these that need to be synced up. Let's scrub down to our cool part where the whole group is dancing. So right here, we'll scrub through until we get the beep, and that beep is going to be, I believe, right here. Let's just check quick. Never mind, it's actually further down.
Come on.
Yep, right there. Okay. So that's that sync beep, and we will scrub forward in this song because I know the sync beep comes right when they do the backflip. So we'll look for the backflip right there. Okay, there was the beep. Okay, playhead is now on the beep. Same deal, gonna set an in point for that. And we will line up our playhead in the timeline with that first beep. Note that the playhead goes before the beep as opposed to after the beep. So we are now lined up with that. That looks great. And same deal, we'll just click and drag this down into the timeline. Again, I'm gonna leave the original factory audio from the onboard mic there just for reference audio. And make sure that none of the tracks are conflicting or overlapping with one another. Drop it, line it up. Okay, so we are indeed lined up at this point. I'm going to keep this onboard mic muted, and we'll just play through quickly and ensure that we are synced up with the audio track. Note that that in point came at about halfway point on that clip, so I'm going to scrub it all the way to the beginning. And let's take a look.
He's getting weak and my gun might blow, but we gon' be alright.
This is a national security alert. Grab music, flip mode. Aftermath. Here we go. With the most venomous man to be the godfather.
Okay. While again we are getting some pretty major lag there, it's synced up and we're good to go. I'm going to simply continue doing that with the remainder of these video clips, making sure that they're synced up with one another. A lot of these there are multiple takes for, so you'll simply repeat the process for each one, stacking one clip on top of the other. You may go up a few more video tracks, and if you need to add one, simply drag it and one will appear. That's looking good. There is the option to do the multicam edit, but that's a different video entirely. So there you have it, folks. That's how to sync up a music video, your live footage, with your edit. And I hope you find that helpful. I've used this same deal several times successfully, and it's always a huge help because if you don't have those sync beeps in there or some way of identifying whether or not your footage is truly synced, you're never really going to know. You may get lucky and find like a snare drum or something, or a quick pop or a clap, but this way I've found works excellent. So thanks again for watching, guys. Please consider subscribing, and we will catch you later.